Okay. Sorry for no stream yesterday. We had to run some errands and it took all day. So, here we are today. And we're gonna get back into things here. We are working on following along with the Bob Ross Joy of Painting tutorials for season 3. The link can be found in the chat if you would like to see the tutorial in full. We spend a lot of the time with the tutorial paused and muted. I do have closed captions on it, but it's pretty tiny, so there is the link if you'd like to go watch it uninterrupted and in its original state. We have done the previous 10 episodes. We are currently working our way through episode 11, which is Rustic Barn. And when we last left off, we were putting in our shadow silhouetted tree stuff here, and we need to work on this bottom section. We are starting a little bit early today. I don't know how late we'll be going today. I need to keep an eye on the weather, because it's one of those squirrely weather weeks where they've actually got us in the possibility of severe weather for 3 days straight, which is a little concerning. I don't think our weather's supposed to kick off till this evening, so I think we're okay for now, but you know, just to make sure that I can go and keep an eye on the weather without being too disruptive to the stream, we're just gonna go ahead and get started a little bit early here. We had hey, cats! That's enough. No cat fighting over there. That's well enough. Cats are getting pissy. We had to go and take my mom to get her guinea pigs yesterday. And we ended up getting one as well since we already had the stuff. So we're trying to work on getting them used to us sticking our hands in the cage and picking them up, and now they are terrified of us, so at least of me. The one like refused to be held in my mom's lap. They were trying to climb up my neck to get away from me, and then I was gonna try to put them down, and they're like trying to scramble away from me, and my mom's not that fast, so I'm like, oh no. What we won't be doing today is that. We gotta move a little bit slower for them. But they settled into their actual cage pretty good. They pooped up a storm overnight and demolished the one bit of hay that we gave them. The other one they didn't go through as much. I don't know if they were having a hard time getting it out of its holder, which could have been what was happening there. The bars seemed a little close for them to get their face in there. We might need to cut some of that. Might need to make a modification. In order to, it's just wood, so we can saw it. It'll be fine. But they had a pooping good time last night, so that's what all the fuss was yesterday and while we were indisposed. So we had to... My mom wanted a specific type of pig. So we had to travel a little bit further because the closest two pet stores didn't have them. The one place had one of them when we had checked about a week ago, and that one's gone. So then we decided to drive a little bit further. She was like, well, no, I can do the 2 males, and but she had really wanted females. I'm like, well, you don't need to settle yet. We haven't checked the other 2 pet stores. They're not that far from Fayetteville. Russell checked the map and it was like 20 minutes. And it's like, we can go up there. It's fine. But of course it decided to downpour and was thundering and lightning a couple times when we were getting in and out of the car, which was a little scary, but I will say it's the first time I've experienced the traffic going quite that slow in that section of interstate. And rightly so, because you could hardly see the car in front of you. Visibility was very poor for a little while. But hopefully everybody had a good weekend. And your Monday has gotten off to an okay start, if not a good start. I think we're going to go through a lot of brown today. I'm probably going to have to fluff more of that by the time we are done this project. Because Bob loves his brown, right? And I think we're going to need some brown on the next one. I mean, Van Dyke brown is his, like, staple color, so... If I had the patience, I would just fluff all of the yarn of each color that I had. That would probably require gallon-size Ziplocs. And I probably could fit them in. Probably. And it's not hard to fluff the yarn, it just is a little time consuming, that's all. And I got the concrete flamingo statue all done. I can't remember if I had told you guys that. He has been dubbed Congo. Oh, did my brother ever say anything to your texts? Nope. I wonder if he got them. don't think she ever got a hold of him yesterday either. Okay, so up here I wasn't too worried about making sure that we were solidly filled in, but down here kind of need to make sure that we are, because we're going to have a lot more of our brown showing through. Up here it was fine because it was like trees and stuff. And graduation season seems to have started between colleges, and some high schools are starting graduation already. I think the high school in our town is graduating maybe next week. Maybe. Or towards the end of the month. They do it in May, which I find surprising. But then again, they do start the school year in August. So, which is just so strange to me because we never started in August in New Jersey. We always started right after Labor Day, which is weird because they don't have school the Monday after Labor Day because they have their square dancing competition at the big craft fair thingy that they have at the end of the summer. So it always disturbed me that they started school in the middle of August when they were going to disrupt everything and be off for like 2 days Labor Day weekend. For that, so I'm like, why not just wait then? I never really understood that because I'm not from here. I'm sure there's an actual reason. But I don't know what it is. I didn't get the chance to get very much editing done this week. I got up through about 10 minutes of video this morning when I was waiting to go live because I woke up way super fucking early for me lately and woke up with a headache. So I was like, oh, we gotta get rid of this headache. And I wasn't sure if it was because I was laying in bed and my neck was just mad, or if it was like a weather migraine, and I was just like, uh-oh. So I had to get up, take some stuff and eat and see if we could fix it. It seems to have backed off for now. So I'm like, well, let's get this going, because I don't know how long we're going to be able to hold it off. Now, we can't do a pig cam right now because the pigs are in the other room. And the Wi-Fi camera we have, there isn't software that my computer will recognize with that specific camera. That seems to be more geared to Windows 10 and earlier, or Android. Or not Android, but like phone app. It's more of a phone app thingy, and even that's been acting a little screwy lately. So we're not sure if they did an update and it broke it, because we're not getting the notifications like we should be. We're not getting any notifications like we should be, except we got an Amber Alert that scared the fuck out of us while we were driving. We thought the noise was coming from the car at first until the tone changed, and we're like, oh. That's what that is. But it surprised me because I thought it was the Amber Alert that they had issued the day before and then canceled 4 hours later, so I was confused as to why we were getting it. Mingos, thank you for the follow. Oh, and now the phone's gonna start ringing. All of the things are happening now. We got Mingos, we got phones. Thank you for the follow. I hope your day is going well. We'll see if we actually get the weather alerts today. Not so certain we're gonna. Like, we weren't even getting text alerts. So I think it's a good thing that we don't have stream tomorrow. You love what you do. It looks cool. Oh, thank you. We're just kind of stumbling through and figuring it out. And we're just kind of following along with Bob. He's sort of walking us through. He's doing it with paint, but we're following along with our fluff. And we're figuring it out. Sometimes we have to go in a slightly different direction that Bob does. Because, you know, paint and fluff behave a little bit differently from each other. But we're slowly figuring it out. And I'm determined to finish this season. We have painted with Bob before. But this was a season we hadn't followed along with previously, so I was like, okay, well, let's try this. I've not seen anybody attempt to follow along with Bob with needle felting, so why not? It is a little bit more time consuming. I mean, as you can see, we're on part 10, I think, if I remembered to change the title. Plus, I only have a few hours on the weekends to work on this guy, usually. But we've done all 9 of this season up to this point. The archives of those can be found on my YouTube channel. Same name as here. Should be a link somewhere to it, either down below or on the About page or something, wherever it's being kept these days. And then when we're all done working on each one, I try to go back and take all the live streams and edit them down into one speed felt, essentially like a speed paint, but we're needle felting, so speed felting. And I try to put those at the end of the individual weeks of the project on the YouTube channel. So they're all in the same playlist, Nisey Needle Felts. If there isn't a speed felt project at the end of that one, then I just haven't gotten to editing it yet, pretty much. We're still working on the speed felts for episode 10 that we followed along with. Haven't quite gotten that finished up yet. Husband's working on his editing pass for me on that guy, and then I'll get it and do the final tweaks and touches on it. Right now I'm working on the speed felt of a gouache project we did a couple months ago. Life's been a little crazy, so editing's a little time consuming. Eventually we might end up getting a different outside Wi-Fi camera, and if we do, and if my computer recognizes it, or we find an emulator that my computer will recognize for it, we can add pig cam back in, at least for the days where we're not doing art.
We'd have to arrange better lighting.
Yeah, potentially.
But I can see us like attaching it to the side with the water bottle.
Yeah. Okay, let's pop that guy up. We haven't brushed him down recently, so we'll do that. And let's go ahead and we'll turn our mat here. Still not quite sure why this section bowed out a little bit. It's worse on... I'm not sure which side it's worse on now. We'll try to clean that up when we finish up this guy. We'll see what we can do. We'll end up losing a little bit of that edge there. That happens. It happens. But that's how you know it's handmade, right? So now I do have to make sure we clean up our bottom edge pretty good this time, because I only have 3 half dowel rods left, so I'm not going to be able to do the top hanger on this one and a bottom weighted piece. I'm going to only be able to do a top piece. So we're going to have to make sure we actually have a clean edge on the bottom. So we're working on filling in our dirt here. Bob in this section used like a mixture of sap green and I think Van Dyke brown, but it looks more green. So ours is going to look a little bit different. But that's okay. We're still getting the idea across of what's supposed to be happening down here. Now when we finish up with this season, we have some other reference photos that we can start using and branching out from there. Just want to make sure that we're good and attached in here. Okay. So I'm just using a felt, no, is it wool? It's probably a wool and felt combo needle felting mat. It's from Wool Buddy. Wait, is it? No. Yeah, Wool Buddy. Not sponsored. That's why we have this, the little name tag covered up with some painter's tape that's coming off. I need to redo it. But I like these mats better because they last a little bit longer and they're not as harsh on the ears. You okay? I wasn't sure if that was you trying to get my attention or okay.
Awesome. All right.
And I tend to prefer the single needle handle to the multi-needle handle. The multi-needle handle's okay. I find it's kind of heavy, and it tends to make my arm real tired real fast. And then I feel like I'm still missing the sections that I want to tap it in. So the single needle might be a little bit slower, but that's what I prefer. And this gauge needle, this needle kit, toolkit that I got, it didn't list what size the needles were. It just had the tubes of the needles labeled small, medium, and large. I'm using the small one. It does the job pretty well. I'm fairly happy with it. These needles are sharp, that's why I've got the finger protectors on. Because my aim's not always the best either. Now when we're done with this, we might make a critter, done with this season, although it might be into Christmas time. Christmas craft season by then, because we still have 2 more to go. And we might be gone for like 2 weeks. The end of September into October. So, we'll be losing 2 weeks of streams there. So when we come back, I might have to dive right into Christmas present crafting, because it takes a little bit. Don't really know what I'm supposed to do for a couple of people. I've figured out the husband's gift already. It's already figured out in my brain. Just a little bit of water that I've got in that lid there. I am using acrylic yarn. Typically, most people use roving, wool, different types of roving. You can use acrylic yarn though, especially if you have a wool allergy. And my base, I'm just using a standard piece of craft felt. I know there's probably other options that might be a little bit better out there, but you can use this and it's working just fine for our needs so far. And we're getting through it. Now we did have to do things a little differently in a slightly different order for this one. So I didn't put our water in right away like Bob did. Bob put his water in when he did the sky. I decided to wait until we got closer down to it, because sometimes that can make my base felt sheet a little bunchy in some sections. If you like jump to here and then go back up there, it can make it a little fussy to work with. So I just figured we would get to the water when we got down to it, and we did. So sometimes we have to go out of order a little bit and circle back around. And we use slightly different colors than Bob does, because Bob's able to mix his colors on the palette. and get what he wants. Now you can mix fluff a little bit and slightly change the color, especially if you're using the hand cards. I don't have any hand cards right now, so that's not that much of an option for us at the moment. But I find it's just easier to grab shades of the final color that he comes up with on the canvas and just kind of roll with that. It does mean I have a very extensive color collection though, which is another reason why I prefer... Sorry, I have to keep an eye on the weather. I was just checking my radar and updating it. This is why I have an extensive yarn collection. I find that the yarn's a little bit more budget friendly for me, because roving can get expensive, especially for the amount that you get in a package. I could just buy a huge ass box of white of it, but then I'd have to dye it down, and I don't have the space or the time really for all that. It's just easier and faster for me to do it this way. And that's why we wear finger protectors, because I just stabbed my finger. But it was a glancing blow and didn't go through the cover. Sometimes if you hit the cover on your finger just right, it will go through. I have had that happen before. But prevents any major damage from happening. I actually need to get a new pair of these pretty soon. These are starting to show their wear and tear. They're still usable, but it would probably be a good idea to have another pair on hand. I'm still using the same needles I got with my kit that I got, what, 2 years ago? Maybe now? We've been doing this for a while. I think I have over 70 colors of yarn, or close to it. I've got 2 bins of yarn that I'm keeping them in. I have probably about a doorway's width of string set up that I've got like little mini clotheslines going across it, and I have all of our bags of fluff A displayed and B ready to go. But you can get some decent yarn sales every so often, so that's why I have so much yarn. Excuse me, because I was like, oh, I like that color, and I can see us using that. And I've also used polyfill when making some critters as our inner core of our critter. Actually, needle felts up pretty good. And it's not that terribly expensive. I mean, we made the husband's Christmas creature. It took quite maybe a third of a bag of polyfill, like one of the medium-sized ones. So that wasn't so bad. And I've used cookie cutters as templates before, or sometimes when we've been desperate and we haven't had the money to go buy a cookie cutter that was going to work for us. We've also made our own templates out of cardboard. So we're still pretty broke. We're not as broke as we were, but still have to watch our budget. So sometimes you just have to figure it out in the least expensive way possible. I don't mind using the cardboard as a template, because then it doesn't matter if I accidentally stab into the side of it if my aim's off. At least it doesn't usually matter. And that's kind of thin. We're gonna have to double you up, I think. Yeah, that'll probably do. Alright, let's come back up here. We've neglected this patch here. Should probably get this section caught up with everybody else. And I do have a video for prepping the acrylic yarn on the YouTube channel. It should be the first one on that playlist for the Nisey Needle Felts playlist. And again, it's the same name as here, NiseyBGN. I think there's a couple of World of Warcraft machinimas on there that might say meet my totem. It's still me. I still made those. The account was more for like World of Warcraft stuff when I first started it, and I just never made a new channel. I didn't see the reason in starting over. It let me change the channel name, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. If it hadn't let me change the channel name, then we would have started over, but it's all good. But those machinimas are pretty old. They definitely could look better if they were produced around now. That was what, those are fairly old, probably like 7-8 years old, if not older by now. So those have been around a fair bit. Okay, you know what? It's been a while since we've turned our mat here. Okay. A little bit more water. This just helps me roll the fluff a little bit. Now, you don't have to roll your fluff, especially if you're using roving and it's in like sheets and stuff. That would probably work out better. You have a dog. When did he come in? I'm surprised. My mom's probably mad he's not laying with her. Oof, I hope we have enough fluff to finish. Oh, well, I mean, we might. I've got other browns too if it comes to it. If we need to change shade, that should be okay. I just prefer rolling it, especially with the yarn, because it's just kind of in a clump. Just in like a fluffy ball. That just works better for me. And I do try to overlap when I'm adding another color in, just because that way we have less odd seams showing, usually. and sometimes we can prevent like weird thin spots showing up between where the colors merge. Sometimes we still get that and I still have to go back and patch over the thin spot. And, you know, it happens. Not the end of the world if it does. It's fixable. That's why I try to overlap those so it's a little bit less that we have to do. As far as that is concerned. Now we did decide we're not going to sell at the farmer's market this year because trying to figure out the taxes and everything was going to be a huge headache. So probably before we go on our trip, or maybe in the middle of July, when the farmer's market tends to get a little bit busier because, you know, more crops have come in by then and everything, we'll probably go down, or the husband will go down, he'll set up a tip jar or a donation jar and give some of it away for free to get name out there and all that. We've sold a few pieces on Etsy of other types of art. Wasn't able to sell these guys. I think I have a couple of these guys up for sale on the Ko-fi page, but my Ko-fi page really doesn't get any traffic, so I might go back to eBay, but I don't know. I gotta think about it. I haven't made up my mind yet. We've sold some of the paintings that we've done in like refrigerator magnets and stuff. I still have a bunch of those. And we made some progress on our acrylic painting on Saturday, where we're starting to put in our pine trees. I'm liking how those are turning out so far. And that's a different type of painting that we've not done before. It's kind of multicolored lines, kind of impressionism. It's kind of like a mix between like a line art and an impressionism. Kinda, sorta. So we normally go until about 4. We'll have to see where the day takes us today. We've gone about 45 minutes so far. The storms are starting to fire in Kansas. They already have a tornado watch up and several severe thunderstorm warnings on the line. I'm not really sure what that's going to mean for us later today, because we're not in Kansas. We're near Kansas, a little south of Kansas. Wait, is it yeah, it's Kansas up into Nebraska right now. But they've been warning us for several days that today was going to be not so good. It looks like the bulk of our storms are going to happen overnight tonight, which I'm not too thrilled about. So I won't be able to sleep with the threat of severe weather. I just won't. So I'm going to be up most of the night keeping an eye on that. Because that's just how I am. Especially with his phone not alerting properly, which is kind of concerning. I mean, it's spilled. It's not like we're drinking it. We're just using it to get all the little flyaways under control here. Our cucumbers that we planted, when did we plant them? Not even a week ago, I don't think. Maybe midweek. They're starting to bloom, or sprout, rather. It's kind of surprising. We live on, like, the main road through our town. And there's a lot of traffic. I'm sure you can hear it through the microphone. I do apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. Our house is not the best, soundproof-wise. There's, like, no soundproofing, very little insulation going on here. So we're gonna hear stuff from outside. I could try to get those foam squares that try to, you know, that you use to fix like echoiness and stuff like that. But our room's not really shaped good enough for me to do that with our streaming area. So later this month, Diablo is supposed to be doing an update. They're changing how loot drops work and gear and stuff, which was kind of why the husband and I stopped playing, because the loot system wasn't where we were happy with it, and it felt dumb because we were grinding and grinding and grinding and not getting anywhere. So we had taken a pause on that, but we might come back to that. Don't know what days that could potentially be happening on yet. Maybe on Tuesdays, Tuesday evenings maybe. Or it might just happen when he wants to play, so it'll probably be kind of sporadic. And we might have to start over with baby characters and work our way up again, because it's been a while since I played and I don't really remember what my stuff does, and he said they've changed a lot of the spells since we last played. And the way my brain works, I'm gonna get frustrated, so I have an easier time learning stuff from the beginning than picking back up in the middle after it's been quite some time and trying to figure it out from there. Okay. So, husband laid down and fell asleep. So you might hear him snoring in the background. Sorry. He told me not to cancel, so I think we were both up a little bit earlier than we really wanted to be today. Plus, he was having a rough morning. But you know, we'll see how we'll see how things go. I'm starting to see my coleus sprout too. We've got some of our elephant ears coming up. Not all of them have sprouted yet, so I'm not really sure what to make of that, unless those bulbs are just being a little bit slower. Which, you know, fair, it's possible. I've got one that has a leaf already up and unfurled. That one's our overachiever so far. I think I see one, like another one sprouting. I think we have like 6 of our 12, 11? I think 11. One of the bulbs was rotted when we went to plant it. Starting to sprout. 1 or 2 of the boxes aren't even showing any signs of sprouting, so I'm a little concerned about those guys. But those guys also seem to need a ton of water to get going. So I guess it's a good thing that we've been under a flood watch for the past couple of days, right? It was just coming down in buckets yesterday. I think the doggo decided to go nap somewhere else. He doesn't seem to be with the husband unless he just got up to go get a drink. Which could be. So when you're using the felt or wool mats, you need some kind of mat underneath, because the needle has to stab in through it, because it has to go through all of your, go through your base canvas felt, your whatever you're using is your canvas. It's not actually canvas, but like your canvas. So it has to go through your felt, your base, and So it has to grab all the fluff on top, and the little barbs on the needles grab everything and shove it all through so everything merges together. So you have to have some kind of mat underneath. Some people use foam mats. Like I was starting to say earlier, I don't particularly care for the foam mats. I think they break down really fast, and some of them can be scritchy, and my ears are sound sensitive, so the scritchy is not happy. This is like a gentle snow crunching, gravel crunching noise, and my ears can tolerate that. But because of this being a fabric mat, every so often you're going to want to lift up gently, just so it doesn't become too attached to your mat, because I've done it before where I didn't know when we were first starting out that I needed to do that, because the person that I was watching doing this, that I was kind of figuring out how to do it from, they had a foam mat, and they didn't lift their project up. Because of it being on the foam, it was a lot easier for them to pull up in one go. But with the fabric, it can attach itself to the fabric so well that it might not come off without some heartache. So I've learned that lesson. So since learning that lesson, I've decided, yeah, we're just gonna pull up every few minutes, pull up off the mat, because it's going to save us a lot of headaches in the end to do so. I don't want to try to attach too many pieces, especially like when we get done a section of brown. I want to lift up. Like not just brown, but like that's the color we're working on right now. But like if it was blue or green or whatever. What's the matter? Is brother in your bed? Beep beep, Zuzu. Beep beep. Let Momo have his bed. Get up on the big bed with Dad. Hold on, you guys. I gotta settle the dogs. What? No, we're not going back out again. It's not time yet. It's only been an hour. Momo, get in your bed. That's Momo's bed. Zuzu. Zuzu, come up here. Come on. Zuzu, up. Zuzu, big bed. There you go. Come up here with Dad. There you go. Come snuggle. All right. Let's all be happy now. Silly doggos. Silly doggos. Okay. So where were we? We were finishing up this spot here. Okay. Alright. And I try to rotate my mat now, so that way we get it, it wears a little bit more evenly. And I try to work in smaller pieces of yarn fluff here, just because my arm gets tired, so that way I can take pauses in between. Okay. Alrighty. So let's put this into place here. Probably gonna have to do another little spot here. I might have to do some little patches along the side of this section because it wasn't quite wide enough. Either that or I flip this guy over and double back on itself. That is also a possibility. It doesn't necessarily have to be quite that long. Now I'm not pushing down on this, my finger's just resting on it. Because I found that if I don't do that, the needle likes to grab all the little fiber guys. And it pulls a bunch of it in that it doesn't necessarily need to pull in. And I feel like I waste a bunch of fiber in a spot that didn't really need that much. That's why a lot of the time my finger will be sitting on the little tail of our fluff. Wow, this traffic just seems so loud today. I do apologize. I don't understand why it's so loud. Everybody around here has to have a loud vehicle, it seems. Which is really super frustrating. Plus, like, our room that we're streaming in is right through one of our front doors, and the road is about, I don't know, maybe maybe 10 to 15 feet at most from our front door. Well, from the porch. So it's kind of like right there. And there's no sidewalk on our side of the road. Why did that sound like your mom's car door? Interesting. Well, we might have somebody coming through our room in a minute. So apologize if there's door opening noises and keys rattling and stuff. I kind of waited to start today till the mother-in-law, had come back. Sometimes she has to go through our room to come in and out of the house. Alright, I think for this, stretch that just a little bit further. Okay, now I have a pen line here. It is kind of our border for our work area. So I took the backing out of a picture frame. The other thing that has a little cardboard stand on it that sits in the back of the frames. I had taken that out of an 8x10 picture frame And I basically trace that to get our working area figured out here. So that's what this is left of. We've sketched everything out in pen just to kind of give us an idea of where stuff was going to go. I brought that up way too high. So if you come at it at a slight angle with the needle, sometimes you can reposition it. I will probably just end up putting a patch over that section just to make my life easier. More than likely. Okay, sorry we don't have stream avatars running on the art days, but the reason for that is because I take the live streams and chop them down and put them in the speed version, time-lapse version of all of this. Oh yeah, we came up way too high there. Oh well, nothing for it now. That's okay. Not the end of the world. And you don't have to do this brushing down the back side of it. I just do it because it seems to make things on the front lay a little bit flatter for me. It might not actually be working that way. It might just be happenstance. But for me, I feel like it helps. Completely optional. All right. 100%. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab another little bit of fluff and try to cover up where we've got the blue poking through here. Alright, that probably didn't have to be quite as overlapped in there. Not every placement's a winner, but it's okay. So yeah, it's alright. Not a huge deal. If you don't like where something is laying in, you can always attempt to pull it out carefully. Or, sounds like a cat checked a window. We've got a bird feeder on the one window. And sometimes it seems like the one type of bird just sits on one of the suet cakes in the little suet cake holder and kind of mocks them. Or at least that's what it seems like. So we've almost got our brown in place. So we're getting further on this guy. We have to figure out what color we want our dowel rod to be that's going to go on the top. That I haven't figured out yet. I'm trying to tap in on the line, which is why I went a little over it. In an attempt to get our edge a little bit straighter, because it's a little bit wobbly. Not that much of a surprise, since, you know, I can't even follow a ruler half the time. It's crooked. But, I was trying to keep these edge lines as clean and straight as we could, and it worked in some parts of it. Other parts of it, not so much. Crunch, 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 crunch. I love that crunchy sound of the needle going through the mat. Kind of reminds me of like, I know it's a different sound, but it reminds me of like horse hooves on like cobblestones and stuff. I know it's an entirely different noise, but I also enjoy that noise too. Okay. I don't really think it's going to take all of today to finish this, but oh no, we've only been going for like an hour and 15 minutes. So, no. We should be starting the silhouette of our shrubs here. If not finishing the silhouette of our shrubs. Before we wrap up for today. Because we're still looking pretty good. So if your needle hits a little bit of resistance and it kind of doesn't want to go in that exact spot, either slow down and take it a little bit more gently into that section, or just be like, okay, that particular spot's not happy, we'll move to a spot next to it. Maybe there's a weird knot in your mat. You could try moving it to a different part of your mat. Could just be maybe the thickness of your fiber there's not happy. Maybe there was a tiny knot in your mat that you didn't see. I mean, in your fiber that you didn't see. Could be a lot of different things. Okay. Now this stuff that's starting to like go past the bottom of our mat, I will come back in. I've got snips, or we'll grab the scissors and we'll just kind of clean up that section down there just so it's not hanging down below. So we don't have to worry too much about that at the moment. Okay, I've got a little tiny section here. Just trim that down for a minute. Just like a little spot like right there. I just want to patch up. Probably wasn't really coming through on the camera. Right there, but I could see it. So I'd just rather take care of that now while we can. While I see it, while we get to it. The little tiny thin spot could become a much bigger thin spot later if I let it go. From experience. Okay. We'll grab this guy here. Let's see about putting you into here. All right. Right, that's looking pretty good there. Bit more water. Alright, we are getting all sorts of nice and filled in here. Oh, we missed part of our spot there. That's okay. We'll fix it. That section was a little bit wider than I had anticipated. So we tend to needle felt on Sunday and Monday. We have no streams on Tuesday or Wednesday normally. Nothing's scheduled, I'll put it that way. Sometimes I'll do a bonus stream on Tuesdays if schedule allows. Lately it hasn't. I've been super busy lately trying to get caught up on editing. And we stream on Thursday. Wednesday's usually husband's guy time with our one friend. They were playing D&D for a while on Wednesdays, but that game fell through. He was working on a new one. I don't know what happened with that. Then they were kicking the idea around of doing a card game. And that seemed to go on pause after they were working on it pretty heavily for a few days. So Thursday we stream Coral Island. Friday we stream Planet Zoo. And Saturday we were doing Planet Zoo as well. We took a little break from our challenge against each other zoo building. Because he just wasn't feeling it. And that's fine, I get that. I still might go back and finish that zoo, or try to finish that zoo that we were working on against each other. But we'll see what happens. That might have to get finished as a speed build. We'll see what comes of that. And then Saturday, we've been using as our painting day. See, we're like curving in and then going back out. I don't know what the heck's going on there. Things and stuff are going on there. Shenanigans. Alright. we're gonna have to pull out a little bit more fluff from our bag. To get this guy finished up here. And I might pull out the back of our picture frame cardboard template thingy. Just to retrace our lines here. So that we can get our edges cleaned up. I was gonna get a rotary cutter, but then I wasn't sure if it was gonna cut all these layers, because I've not used one before. And the cheapest one that I could afford didn't look like it was gonna do it. The wheel looked kind of thin. And we hate getting stuff that we can only use for one thing. Like, it kind of makes me go, nah. And we also needed to cut fleece, so we just ended up getting new fabric scissors. In the end here. Sometimes I need just that little bit of water to give my hands a little bit more friction to get our fluff to cooperate a bit here. Keep sticking in the corner, and I don't need to be. Okay. So just a little bit further to go here. Just that little triangle-y guy. At least on this section. Then we have to put in our shrubbies. Our shrubby silhouettes. Okay, that should, in theory, fill in our area. But we still had wide open here. So far so good. I don't see any of our gray poking through, so that's helpful. Okay. So there's that. We've got our dark pathway all filled in. Hello! I'm gonna say it wrong again. Is it Getafe? Is that how the husband was pronouncing it? Because I was saying Getafe, and that was wrong. Close, but wrong. So, Getafe? How are you? I'm sorry I didn't see your message last time. When I looked up and saw it, you had already left, and that's fine. Sometimes I'm a little slow to answer chat. Especially depends on what we're doing. So, Bob's got some, like, shrubbies that stick up here. Just kind of looking at our... both not quite right pronunciation. I'm trying. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I know, pronunciation's not my strong point. Gaddafi? I'm trying. G. Can I call you G? Is that okay? Is that less offensive? Or is G more offensive? You're hanging around on the couch with your rats? Nice. We just got my mom guinea pigs. We've had them before, but she wanted a little critter to take care of. So, a puppy or a cat was going to be problematic down the road. So we're like, well, how about we get guinea pigs again? So she got 2 and I got 1. Because those 3 seem to be hanging out at the pet store together and interacting well, so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know if we can fit 8 in here, but he's got some shrubs lining this section. This was how we kind of... Oh no, that's not 8. That's mud. Or reflection. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like 7-ish. As long as I know that you talk to me, it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, some people get real upset when their names aren't pronounced right. Like, I tried to teach people how to pronounce my stream name. In the one Discord I was in... Actually, it might still be that way. I had it spelled... I had my name and then I had in pronunciation, in like parentheses next to it, how to say it. Oh, this is kind of big. I think we went a little too big on this guy. Quite possibly. Potentially. Alright, we'll try to rein ourselves in on the next one. So we'll work on getting our silhouette shadows, however you want to call it. Worked in here. Ooh, my stomach just growled. Oh my. And then my sinuses freaked out. My stomach growling scared me so bad, my sinuses were like, what? And my nose started running. My nose was running to get away. Alright, so hopefully you guys can hear me a bit better. I've figured out how to get this microphone turned up a little bit louder. Oh yeah, this is definitely much taller than it needed to be. So I hope you're doing well. People mispronounce your real name as well all the time, so you're used to it. You react to anything that sounds like it could be your name. Aww. Yeah, so our name is Nisey, like your knee joint, and sea like you see, or sea like the ocean. It's a long time nickname I've had that a coworker had dubbed me with some time ago when I was working for the craft store. And it's not that far off my real name. It's got part of my real name in there, so. Alright, that's pretty tacked down. Let's go ahead and pop that guy up gently. Alright, we're just gonna try to get that to lay a little bit flatter. And I think now's a good time to turn our mat. Yeah, so we've got the 3 pigs. I've always, well, not always, but I've been kind of interested in trying gerbils, and we might at some point. I had seen a couple that looked like little tiny mini squirrels, and I kind of fell in love with them. The way they were colored. Husband kind of likes the idea of rats. I've never had rats. So that's 1. 2. Okay, so you know what, we'll anchor you down right there. You might be able to hear the husband snoring in the background. I do apologize. I asked him if he wanted me to cancel, and he said no, and then he fell asleep, so... that is what it is. They're like mini puppies. Yeah, like we've done the guinea pigs before, so we're used to dealing with those guys. Like we just finished making the rest of their cage liners today, because we do the fleece cage liners for the pigs. We've got like an absorbent pad, and then we've got the fleece that we've treated so that the water passes through it, so when they pee, it absorbs into the bottom mat. In theory, it's supposed to. And it's a lot easier to shake those out and get all the little bits of hay off of it and just throw it in the washing machine than constantly buying new bedding for them. I imagine rats and gerbils are a little bit different. Can't really go that route, but it works for the pigs, so that's what we've been doing for them. 1, 2. I've got like fence posts I need to squeak in between these guys, so I don't want them too far apart, but I want them far apart a little bit. And this doesn't have to be perfect here, but just so we kind of have the shape about where we want it. They can be litter box trained, recognize their name and different people, and they can be trained to not eat cables and furniture. Nice. Interesting. Yeah, in a few years, if we end up moving, or once we figure out if we're moving and get where we're going, husband wants to get a bearded dragon. Not really into lizards all that much, or the reptiles. We have a couple of hermit crabs right now. Every time we seem to get our hands on a couple more, somebody else seems to pass away, so we can't seem to get the hermit crab population above 2 right now. And the one pet store in our area's stopped carrying them. Because they said they're just not selling enough of them. But, you know, fair enough. Soon you will get a dog. Nice. We've got the 2 doggos. They're getting up there in years. They're little guys, though. We're not quite sure what to expect on their life expectancy. Like, I know the bigger dogs don't live quite as long, usually. Like the purebred big guys. Had a St. Bernard at one point that lived about 5 years, but he had a heart condition, or developed a heart condition that we didn't know about. And he passed away. I've had 2 rough coat collies over the years. Had a basset hound that lived for quite a while. And these guys, I think, are going on 13, 12 or 13, and they still have plenty of attitude left in the tank. That's for certain. Just trying to stretch out those fibers because we've got some pretty big blank spots on this guy. I don't mind too many thin spots on these because they're like shrubbies, but I just didn't want too huge of a thin spot. I might end up filling those because that's a little big. Like in here, it's okay. That I'm kind of bothered by. I'll probably fix that. I think our guys are basically mutts that we have right now. They're brothers. They were corgi mixes. I was expecting to at least see something when we got there to get them that looked a little more corgi than they do. The one guy just looks like a tall terrier. Only one of them really looked like a corgi at all. It's like the coloring looked about right, and the shape looked about right. He definitely has the corgi attitude. The one. The other guy, he just looks like a tall terrier. hard to believe they're brothers because they look nothing alike. They definitely have different personalities. Oh, the wind's picking up. Wind chimes, man. That seemed kind of sudden. We don't have any weather yet, do we? Oh, they just issued a tornado watch for Oklahoma. Through the middle of the state. How late does theirs go to? Ooh, 11 p.m. so far. Okay. We're supposed to have the chance for severe weather for the next couple of days, so we need to keep an eye on the weather watches and warnings and stuff. We're in Arkansas, so we don't have any watches yet, but need to keep an eye on it in case the storms start sooner than they expected. Like, we don't normally get the huge hail here. I think the largest hail I've seen here might have been like nickel or quarter size. I've not seen like tennis ball or softball sized hail like you'll see sometimes from Oklahoma or Texas. I can handle the hail. I can handle the wind. I don't like tornadoes. Those scare me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we don't have a tornado shelter in our house. Like, we don't have a storm shelter or a safe room or anything like that. There's one for the town at the one school. That they unlock when watches are issued. But you can only use it during non-school hours. Because I think they use it for the kids when school's in session. Which I don't really understand why they don't have a second one built, since the town's population has expanded by quite a lot. And people don't generally have basements here. I don't know why, but they don't. There's a lot of hot springs in the area, so that could be why, like a lot of natural springs. So it might just be because of springs and flooding that they don't have a lot of basements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might be able to get 2 more in there. My soon-to-be dog comes from Romania. He was a street dog. Oh, nice. Very nice. Say, all the puppers deserve some homes. I know a lot of people have been coming to our town and just dumping their pets and leaving them. We've been finding so many like dogs that have been getting dumped and left behind, and so many kittens that have been getting found lately. Our shelter doesn't, our town animal shelter does not, there are no-kill shelter. And I don't know if that's why people tend to dump their animals here. Or if they think because they're out in the country, nobody's gonna catch them doing it. But our town animal shelter's full. It's a small shelter because it's a small town, but they've been full for a while. And if I didn't have the other guys, we would probably try to take in somebody else. But we're kind of full up on pets right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep forgetting how many I needed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8. I'm just kind of shaping this bit of fluff here. Trying to. I'll just go with 7. So my sketch is a little different as well compared to this guy. That's okay. And Bob doesn't like straight up put these guys in. They're just kind of there. I've got ours spaced out a bit. Just it's because how I want to do it. We don't have to be a complete direct copy of Bob's. We're following along though, but we're still making it ours. Our trees are slightly different color in the background. His first steps will be to give him a shower and potty train him. He's never lived indoors before. Huh. Well, that should be an interesting journey. And I'm sure he will be excited to be inside and out of the weather and getting food all of the time. Sure, he will be a happy doggo, or she, whichever the case might be. Guess him. It's a he, I suppose. Alright. So we kind of our shadow guys in here. I've still got some brown left, but I might have to fluff some more. It's a he. Nice. Bet you're excited. I would be excited. Okay, I'm gonna tap the tutorial forward just a little bit. Hang on, first of all, slide that over to there. You see what these notifications are. Meow. What meows? Where are you? Hi, Littles. You can't go that way, Littles. That was a very loud meow, though, my friend. Okay. So let's move this forward just a little bit. Now he adds the wheel up there. I omitted that from ours just because of the angle I had our barn on. It just wasn't gonna work too well. Okay. So he's popping in some trunks on the trees. Okay, and then he starts filling that in. Did he already? Hang on, let me go back a little bit. Okay, no, he didn't. Okay, so he puts the trunks into the trees. One and two. Okay, so sap green and cad yellow. And he fills that in. He added some red. And then that one's kind of yellowy. And that one's a little more green. A little more yellow. Okay, so what are we doing this tree in? Cameraman, could you zoom in, please? I can't see. Cameraman. Okay, so that's a little bit of maybe our yellow ochre. And some yellows. Okay, what did I say this tree was? Hang on, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay. Brown, gold. Okay, so said toffee, glorious gold, and light green. Okay. Okay, I also have a shrub here that it kind of just appeared in the background. He never really filled it in. So, that's okay. Do I want to do this in taupe? Yeah, we'll do this in taupe. Kitty, what are you doing? You're making me nervous. You're like all in my wires. Hopefully she doesn't disconnect us. Alright, so I'm just gonna snake this guy. As best as I can. Thought I'm getting a little too silly here. Okay, so alright, you're gonna go there. Okay, let me, before I do that, Okay. He didn't really have this put in. I saw it on the finished piece and just thought he deliberately dropped it in. Apparently he didn't. There's a shrub behind the tree. Or at least that's what it looks like. It's a bit darker. Yeah, okay. So we'll take our... How are you? What color are you? Nope, not you. If I can find my colors here. Who are you? Hunter green. Okay. You're who I'm looking for. Got a whole pile of fluff going on next to us. A little bit of water so we can get this guy to cooperate here. All right. So he's just kind of like poking up in different directions behind our tree trunk. Let's work on getting this guy figured out here. So he's going to be a little bit tougher to see at the moment. Just a little bit. This guy worked in. And then I'll bring some like branches in, and then I'll bring in our lighter, not really lighter, but more of our olivey green. Still kind of like a muted green though. I can hear some kind of truck running. It's very distracting because I can hear / feel the vibrations of it. I don't know where it's coming from. Doesn't really make sense. I mean, there is a side street near us where they could be trying to turn out of, but traffic's been light enough at the moment where they could have turned already. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. It is terribly distracting to my brain. Now, I didn't get the chance to do any work on the flamingo painting this week at all because working on the statue took up most of our time. So I'm hoping to get some editing done tonight while I'm waiting for storms to kind of move through and figure out what they're gonna do. Hopefully they won't be too bad. Our power hasn't gone out in the last few that we've had. Ooh, but I should charge my flashlight. hang on. My flashlight takes a while to charge. And I've used it a couple of times before today, since I last charged it, so. So we should probably get that guy charging. I'm not sure how much juice is left in those batteries, how much power they still have. The recharge light hadn't come on it yet, but this house gets very dark when the power goes out, so just go ahead and get that guy charging. And I know where our doggo leashes are located in case I need them. Okay, let's see here. How about you kind of come up this way? That one wind chime is very loud. This is a big guy though. It's a big wind chime. It's kind of right outside our door. Is it true that Coca-Cola has corn syrup in it instead of white sugar in the US? Pretty sure. I know a lot of it does. Most of the times, well, every so often you'll see soda, whether it's Pepsi or Coke or something, and the label will say made with real sugar. They'll do that every so often here. Or it'll be like a special limited run or something. But yeah, most of the time it's corn syrup. Let's see. I can actually go check. My mom has a bottle of Coke in the refrigerator. I need to get up and stretch my legs real quick anyway. Give me 1 second. And, it's okay. I think the real sugar ones taste better. I'm not a huge fan of Coca-Cola unless it's like vanilla Coke or cherry Coke. The regular flavored Coke tends to give me a headache. Unless I water it down with ice. But give me 1 second. I will double check to see what she has in the fridge. Like I said, I need to get up for just a minute. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sky outside's starting to get quite a bit darker. So I checked her soda, and it says high fructose corn syrup on hers and on mine. So yeah, it's like a special thing when it's made with real sugar. I mean, it tastes alright. I think the real sugar tastes better though. But yeah, we only see the real sugar every so often here. And thank you. I was trying to figure out what the weird heavy machinery sound was while I was up stretching my legs. And of course, when I stepped outside to try to see where it was coming from, it was gone. It like stopped the second I stuck my head outside. I was like, really? The cat that's been hanging around our house, or one of them, outside was on our front porch though. Having lunch. A late lunch. But lunch all the same. So we don't have any storms in our area just yet. But I'm not too thrilled with the way the sky looks out there right now. I also had to check our mail real quick because our mailbox, our mail carrier does not shut our mailbox tight. They always leave it hanging open a little bit. I wanted to make sure it wasn't raining so that the mail didn't get wet. Nobody likes soggy mail. Fluff bags, stop it. Fluff's trying to run away back here. Never had a drink with or food with corn syrup in it. Huh. That's fascinating. I'm sure the stuff with real sugar tastes much better. It's got to. Like half the stuff here has, or seems like it does, has the corn syrup in it. I've actually been trying to reduce how much soda I drink. I've started drinking seltzer water. We'd gotten some flavored syrups to put in there. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I think I just kind of like it plain. Haven't been able to kick soda entirely. Because I'm addicted to caffeine, and it's going to be a hell of a caffeine withdrawal headache. You're not sure, but you believe sugar is healthy. Yeah, I would think sugar, because, you know, it's more, it's not as, processed, I guess, regular sugar, as the corn syrup stuff is, so I'm sure it's much better for you. It's still not great, but I'm sure it's much better. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the weather prospects the next couple of days. We'll see what happens. As long as we don't get any tornadoes, I'll be happy. We've been fairly lucky in this location. We've had our share of tornado warnings. There was one small tornado that we didn't even get a warning for because it happened so fast. A few streets over from where we live, a couple of years ago. Happened during a live stream, actually. We're in the middle of doing a painting live stream, I think, And all of a sudden our power went out. I was like, what? And I had been looking at the weather and checking in during the live stream. I'm like, oh, I don't see any warnings yet. Like, I don't even think we were under a severe thunderstorm warning. And everything just went black. And I'm like, huh? They didn't get the power up for hours. And at the time, the husband didn't really have a smartphone, so he couldn't, like, check in on Facebook to see if anybody was saying what had happened around town. But apparently a couple streets down from us, one had touched down very quickly and took out just about every single utility pole on the street, where they were all, like, folded down into the street. And that's why it took all day for power to come back, because they had to replace all of the poles. So we didn't find out till late that day what had happened, until they got power back up and running. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the tornadoes, because they happen so quickly and are so destructive. And there's been some scary ones in Oklahoma and in Texas this past week, where on radar they almost looked like the eye of a hurricane. That's not a storm you play with. That's a little scary. I kind of like this olive green. That's what this color is that we've got right now in our hands. It's a very nice foliage color. So I think we might incorporate this a bit into our shrubbery, maybe. I'm not going to use it on the tree, because we've got this little shrubby guy sitting in front of the tree. Our little spiky guy here. Sorry for the sniffling. My allergies are still bad. The tree that we believe I'm allergic to is all over this area. So until it decides to stop spewing pollen everywhere, I'm going to be wrecked. It would seem. Okay, so we'll get this guy kind of worked into here. Okay, so we might have some tree foliage, some tree leaves, covering up parts of this guy. Maybe. Have to see how we go here. You're happy that there's no tornadoes where you live? They sound scary. Yeah, I've never been through one. Personally. But they've been nearby. There was photos taken of one storm where there was a funnel cloud, near our house for one storm that like went over our cemetery. It never quite touched down, and we've had some warnings, but we've never actually had one hit our house, for which I am very happy for. Like, I've been through hurricanes before. Those can be a little scary, but you know they're coming and you're prepared and you have food and water put aside, and you know you've been planning for days. You've got the house boarded up usually, or storm shutters on the house, or you know, like you've got your plan in place and you know what you're doing, and you've either evacuated or, you know, you've had time to get your shit together, basically. Tornado warnings, you don't really. You like have to have an idea of what you're gonna do already figured out. And then when they happen, you have to like quick implement them. So like if you live in a trailer house or like an RV, you have to know where the fuck you're gonna go because you can't stay in those. And you have to get there. You're not able to take your time, like you need to go. Because you don't have much time to deal with it. And they can be extremely destructive. I'm just glad that we've never actually been through one. Okay, maybe we should do... You know what? I'm gonna change that. Hold that thought. I think we are gonna use this brown after all. Your home survived 2 world wars, but a tornado would definitely destroy it. Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. Depends. I've seen some brick structures just get demolished. Like, I couldn't live in Oklahoma. They get way too many of them. That's not a state my sanity could tolerate living in. I'd like have my house entirely underground. The whole house would be the storm shelter. At that point for me. I think that's why I'm so anxious about them, because they're so unpredictable. You don't really get much warning on them. Not like compared to a hurricane or something like that, where you know it's coming. Like, I'm used to hurricanes. Used to live on the east coast of the States, so we didn't get that many in New Jersey, but, you know, we were used to it. It was something we knew how to deal with. Here, though, no thank you. Like, we never really had a weather radio in our house in New Jersey. It wasn't a thing. Like, we didn't really have to worry about it. Here, you've got to have some kind of way of getting weather alerts. We were on a list for when there was warnings and stuff, that we were getting phone calls to the house phone line. But then all of a sudden they stopped, and we're like, excuse me? Did something change and nobody told us that you're changing how you're doing your alerts or something? And we thought, well, maybe we had gotten like pushed out of the system or something. So we redid it twice. And I think only one of those times we got our phone call alert. And then it kind of seemed like they were moving to maybe a text message system. when we redid it using the husband's cell phone and not the landline. And we're still not getting them. So I don't know what's going on, but they're becoming really unreliable. So we're gonna have to replace our weather radio, I think. Because I don't like that we're not getting the alerts in a timely manner. If at all. Like, the only reason I knew we were under a severe thunderstorm warning last week, with a tornado possible on it, was because I was sitting here watching the weather. I had like 3 different live streams going of different weather people. Like 2 different radio, or 2 different news stations in our area, and then some YouTuber, who was it? Ryan Hall, that was doing severe weather coverage. That's the only reason I knew. So I don't like that. That's a bit upsetting. So we'll see what tonight brings. Like, the sky's already turning gray out there, and that might be working to our advantage for later tonight. So it's not quite as hot out later when the storms move in. But, we'll see. I suppose. Okay. I'm going to do like a little bit of a light gray strip on this guy. Sorry, I was just checking what time it was. I know we started a little bit early today, but I wasn't sure how early I started. I mean, I could have started much earlier today, but I chose to wait just a little bit. Instead, I got a little bit of video editing accomplished. Come on, detangle. It's that piece that we had started to attach, and then I changed my mind. And we need to put in another tree trunk here. Probably gonna have to add to this guy. Just a bit. Early is relative for you, it's late. True. Very true. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. It usually starts getting dark for us maybe between 7:30 and 8 o'clock right now, somewhere in there. Maybe closer to 8 o'clock at the moment. But right now it is 3 in the afternoon. Alright, so we usually start around 2. Or at least that's what time I have the stream scheduled to start. Lately I've been able to start a little bit earlier than 2 o'clock. Sometimes we start around 1:30 in the afternoon. It kind of depends on how our day is going and what time I woke up, really. And what we've had to take care of. So far for the morning. Sometimes we don't have errands that we have to do, sometimes we do. Like since I canceled stream yesterday, Friday night we went and got our food shopping done for the month, or the bulk of our food shopping done for the month. Like all of our bulk stuff. And the majority of our groceries. Since we went and got the guinea pigs yesterday, we were busy getting them settled in. And like this past week, we were running to the home improvement store to get some garden stuff and seed stuff. We planted some vegetables for the guinea pigs. It's 10 p.m. over here. You live in the future. Yes. One of my friends lives in Australia. So, I was doing website not maintenance, but I was doing articles on her website and helping manage the social media accounts for WoW challenges for World of Warcraft. Not affiliated with Blizzard, but it was a side group of people that like had started a specific in-game challenge for way to play, and I'd been on her podcast a few times, so like when we were doing the podcast on Saturdays, for me it would be like 6 p.m. in the evening. I would have to start doing prep for it like at 4, maybe 3 or no, I guess about 4 in the afternoon. And for her it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, so the next day. So that was always interesting, trying to coordinate our schedules, especially when we needed to have a conversation about stuff. We usually just played tag in Discord and just left each other messages most of the time. Littles! What's the matter? She's chatty all of a sudden. Oh, you're awake now.
Yeah, sorry.
You didn't snore too loud this time. Like, soda with real sugar here is an oddity, right? Like, it doesn't happen very often. They usually make a big deal out of it when they produce it.
Most soda here is made with high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, but it's like a...
That said, usually if it's not made with that, they'll advertise it as real cane sugar.
Yeah.
That said, also, I don't know if it's going to actually be cane sugar or if it's just regular white sugar instead. Yeah, it's almost all corn syrup here.
Yeah, but it's like a big deal when the soda uses cane sugar or real sugar.
They usually actually add that in their labeling and advertising.
Yeah, like they really like push it hard. Be like, ooh, look at this limited edition thing. Yeah, no, he didn't snore too loud this time. Sometimes he
sorry.
does. Because I've got the mic turned up a bit so that I don't have to worry if I'm not projecting as hard. So I'm not sure how loud it's picking up everything in the background now.
Wow, I'm starting to get like you. I can't see the name with my glasses.
It's G.
Getafe?
Yeah. That we both can't
Getafe?
say right.
Ah, damn it. Now you got me wondering. I got it right once, damn it.
No, you were close. We're both close, but
What's
we're not
up, homie?
quite right.
Shit.
I am so hungry. I can't wait for dinner. I have to make piggy salad and my salad and get our dinner in the oven. I can do it.
Well, I assume that was going to be alongside the dog food.
Yeah, I know, but I've already got you doing enough dealing with the dogs, so I might have you make carrot noodles for me. Okay. You're just mispronouncing the last letter.
Getafe?
Maybe? I don't know, maybe you should like load up the chat and find out.
Yes, dear.
I mean, you are like one of my mods. I haven't seen Boz lately, so I think she's been busy. I shall message her and check on her. Last time she disappeared for a while, she had just been busy with life. And that's fair. Just like to check in on her every so often. So we're not under any watches yet. They've got Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska, like a center strip down all three states, and part of Texas, all in a tornado watch. And then they've got South Dakota, most of South Dakota in a severe thunderstorm watch. And I just saw a tornado warning pop up for Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, and they're not under any watches, which is interesting. Maybe we'll get lucky and the weather models will be wrong. Because that's been happening a lot lately, where they've gotten people all excited and wound up for severe weather and then nothing's happened. And I would rather it not happen, but then you get like severe weather fatigue, where it's just like kind of like the whole cry wolf thing. It's like you said we were going to get it, and then it didn't happen, so people are going to stop paying attention to you. Because it didn't happen, and then it's actually going to happen. Okay. So we've got that in there. Yeah, I don't know why this one is just so curved. We're going to end up losing a little bit of this, because I think this is more of the straight section. We'll have to see. Alright. This color can go back in its bag for now. You can go back and...
Getafe? Getafe?
The E at the end sounds like the E in less. Getafe? I don't know, I'm really bad with pronouncing things.
Oh, good! Hey, we managed to translate
Yay!
it into hillbilly. Yay! Getafe. 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 Okay. Righto.
All hope is not lost for us. See, we're trying. We really are. Alright, just getting some darker green here. Oh wait, what color was this tree supposed to be again? Oh, wait, that green's not in that tree. Hold on. The toffee, I think, was the trunk. Glorious gold. I'm done with this green for right now. Glorious gold. Glorious gold? No, you need to stay up there, friend. Where are you? Did you fall out of the bucket? Oh, shit. Ow. Hold on. Nope. That's purple. Where is it? I don't think I hung you up. Did I? No. Excuse me. Where's my fluff? Bags of fluff? Excuse me. That's incense. Those are paint pellets. So green, yellow. What the frig? Where did you go? That's a flamingo ducky. Hang on, I gotta take my headphones off. I can't. Okay, Ziploc bags of fluff don't just walk away. They shouldn't be able to just walk away. Okay, I'm very confused. We're gonna have to pull everybody out. So, buttercup, forest green, chocolate brown, light green, taupe jam, rust, soft fudge. There you are. For some reason you looked red in the bucket. And I was very confused as to why I had red in the bucket. I'll leave you out. I'll leave you out. You all can go that way. Okay. Well, I was pulling my speaker halfway off my desk. Okay. That took entirely too long to dig out. Okay. Don't think I need that color for right now. Although maybe we do. Maybe we should grab it. Tell you what, we'll go with different colors. We will grab, like, my notes were just sort of guidelines. We can change our mind on our colors. How about we go with a little bit of our olive green. And we'll get a little bit of our glorious gold. I've got to pick up a pair of hand cards. Make this so much easier. Don't eat! Dinner's in like an hour. He always gets snacky before I make dinner.
Just having a couple grapes.
Okay. Dinner we're having frozen chicken strips and some french fries because I didn't feel like cooking all that much tonight. And I'm gonna have salad with some lettuce, some carrot shaved down with a vegetable peeler, some green pepper, some cucumber, and some croutons and some bacon bits. My mom's probably going to be mad that we're not having rice. And then the guinea pigs are going to get some lettuce. And some bell pepper. Probably a grape tomato. And they might get a piece of cucumber tonight. And maybe a small piece of orange for dessert. They already have their pellets and their hay. I will check the status of all of those when they get piggy dinner. We have a little swinging metal stick that we hang from the top of their cage that we put their chunks of vegetables on, and then the lettuce, I have a little foraging mat for them that's like pieces of felt cut in thick strips, and then we just kind of weave the lettuce in between the strips of the felt. So they have to work a little bit to get that. actually tough figuring out what to make for dinner because it's not just me I'm feeding. I have to feed my mom and the mother-in-law while she's here. She will probably be leaving the end of the week to go join her sister in a different state for a little bit. And then she'll be back in September before we're supposed to go on our trip. So then it'll be down just to me feeding me and my mom, and sometimes Russell joins in. Depends on what I'm making, whether or not he wants it or not. Most of the time he just figures out his own food. Yeah, well, we figured that the treat stick that hangs from the top of the cage, it moves around while they're trying to eat from it. So we put like the chunks of vegetables, because they're only supposed to get like a cup of fresh stuff a day. The bulk of their food's supposed to be Timothy hay. So, and it'll slow them down eating it a little bit. So that way hopefully they all get the chance to get a piece of it. We planted some peas because they can have those, and some cucumbers. And we planted some lettuce, I believe, and some peppers. But then we've got the little foragey mat, and we'll just stick, you know, some treats in those. They're figuring that out. Because when I checked it this morning, all the stuff that we'd put in there yesterday was gone. Took them a little bit to figure that out. One of the pigs was eating the felt. I'm like, no. Find the food. Eat the food. Like, not everything I'm putting in your cage is edible, friends. But it gives them something to do so they're not so bored. And they have their little wood orchard sticks to chew on. They've got a tunnel that's made of wood that they can chew on that we stuffed full of Timothy hay, and I have a brown paper bag that I stuffed with like a little lunch bag that I stuffed with Timothy hay today. And they've already made a mess in there. Rats will eat green, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, apples, grapes, some boiled egg. Yeah, I'm not sure about the grapes for them. I've seen conflicting information. Apple they can have. Maybe they'll get a piece of apple later tonight. Because I have some apple for me. Like, they can have, like, fruit, like, a couple of times a week. Just what we give them, you know, we have to make sure that the potassium's not too high and the calcium's not too high. Or maybe it's just the calcium. We have to watch. It might be the calcium. And we need to make sure that we're giving them stuff that's high in vitamin C. And I think there's vitamin C in their grain pellets, which is also Timothy hay. They have some of that in there too. We managed to find a bowl that's got like a flat edge to it, so they can't flip it over when they run across it. I think the only thing on that list that the pigs can't have is egg. Or I've never seen anybody mention it, but I don't think they can have that. Like they can have like the corn silk when you like clean ears of corn, and like the husk if it's in decent enough shape. Like if it's not moldy or anything. Oh, school bus. Man, today flew by, didn't it? Didn't realize it was quite that late. Piggies are vegetarians, but the rats need their animal protein. Yeah, and that makes sense. My mom was surprised when I said, well, if we get guinea pigs, if we get you a guinea pig, we have to get 2. And she goes, why? I was like, because we found out they're herd animals and they need at least one friend. Although you will get the odd pig that likes to be by themselves. That is perfectly fine, but usually they want at least one friend. Or need one friend. Had one pig that was just scared of everything the world had to offer. And probably would have been better by themselves because they had a cage mate that kept ripping their hair out. So I had to separate the 2 of them so they could still see each other, but the other one just couldn't get to them to pull their hair out. Because they were getting bald spots and her hair didn't start growing back in until we separated them. We're like, where are these bald spots coming from? Like, we weren't sure if she had mites at first, and then we realized the other one was ripping her hair out. But we've got a cage from CNC Cages. I'm not the hugest fan of their cages because sometimes they're a pain in the ass to open it. Okay, let me rephrase that. We have cats. So, their cages do come with lids that you can put together. So you have like a cage lid that'll flip up. However, since we have cats and we have to cat-proof our cage, it makes it a pain in the ass. But all the other cages we saw were way too small. Way too small. So, I mean, they've got a good-sized cage, so we couldn't do any of the pet store cages because they were just ridiculously tiny. They weren't even big enough for one pig. I think I remember growing up, we started out with a store-bought cage specifically for the guinea pig, and we didn't realize when I was growing up that they needed a friend, so we only had a solitary pig. And the store-bought cage worked for a little while, but then as they grew, it was really too small, so, you know, in the 80s, my parents didn't know that much, and there wasn't the plethora of information that you can find now on the internet, because the internet didn't exist. They had they bought a puppy, like a dog kennel, like a metal sided, like metal bars that went all the way around. Dog kennel, dog crate. Like not like a cat carrier type one where the sides are solid plastic. Like this was just metal bars where you could like stick your hand in and stuff. And we ended up making that into a guinea pig cage as best as we could, because it was still bigger than what we had, but we didn't have a whole lot of options. And my dad really wasn't that handy. Like, he could work on cars and stuff, but building things really wasn't his wheelhouse. So, and I mean, it did okay. It worked. I think it would have been too small for one pig, but it worked for him. Well, her, really. We thought it was a him. Turned out it was a she. And I didn't learn this until much, much later. Because somebody in our town had a male pig that they had to rehome ASAP because it turned out their kid was allergic to either the Timothy hay or the pig itself. And, we had a two-level cage. Well, not really 2 levels. We had 2 cages that were stacked on top of each other that were 5 feet long. And I think 2 feet wide, roughly, when we had our pigs. Like, they had a lot of room in those cages. The cage that my mom's got right now isn't quite as long as that was. But they had, like, piggy palace, all of the room to run. And we had set up the bottom cage for the male pig, but the cages were long enough where if we had to divide out and separate them into 2s, we could. I'm not sure what feet to meters is. They didn't teach us meters. But the cage was huge. It took up quite a lot of space. Our original cage. Okay. Let's work on getting this guy in here. So I think this week I'm gonna try to get our dowel rod painted that's gonna go on the top of this. Because I'm not sure when we're gonna be done, but we're gonna be done soon. Because I think now we're just down into putting the leaves on our tree. And then we have getting our pathway put in here. That probably should have been up a little bit higher. Nothing for it now, but not quite sure how I'm gonna handle like down in between here. That I don't know yet, we'll figure that out when we get there. Washing machine is around 1 meter tall. So okay, so the two cages stacked on top of each other, and they were on a stand. Or maybe like just over 1 meter tall. Maybe like 1.5 meters then. Maybe 1.25 meters. Like it was maybe between 1 meter and 1.5 meters tall. And then lay machine. One. Maybe not quite 2 meters long. All right, I think we're in a good pause place for today. If I find any pictures of our old cage, I will show you, but I don't know if we have any. I'll have to search my Facebook. Yeah, I mean, we had a decent amount of room for when we had more pigs. My mom just has, we have the 3, and the cage is rated for 2 to 3. And it's a decent size, like, they've got plenty of room. Much bigger than the store-bought cages. It's like almost double the width and maybe not quite double the length, but it's a decent sized cage for them. It's just troublesome having to have the lid on it for the cats, because my cats are assholes and they have that hunter instinct, which is great when we had a couple of mice getting in the house, but it's not so great when I've got guinea pigs that I don't want them to go after, and the one is obsessed with them, so kind of had to, we've got wire that we put on the outside of the cage to keep the cat from sticking his feet in, or the one cat that's obsessed with them, and so we had to go to great lengths to protect the piggies. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So we will be back on Thursday with Coral Island. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. Oh, and I hope everybody has a great week and you stay safe. We will do our best here to dodge the severe weather that we might have for the next couple of days. And I thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. Hope all has been well and all will be well. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.